Hello World Doll Day friends, this is Michael Canadas with the Carmel Doll Shop and the Grovian Doll Museum. Today we have a special program. In literature and online and in catalogs, we often see the term all original, factory original, addict original. I find this very interesting because having a brick and mortar shop for now, it's been a long time, we actually have the opportunity to get the things from the attic or the basement or the closet. And I will tell you that the experience of the really original doll, the untouched doll, is quite different than what they're advertised as. So today I thought that, you know, David and I are getting up there in years, and we have learned a lot of things in our time, and we don't want to be like a lot of people before us that go off into the great beyond and don't ever tell any of their techniques and things. So we're going to share with you what it takes to get a doll up and running from an all original situation, from an attic, home, etc. So I'm going to bring in part of our dream team. Come on in, kids. Leo is, one of you on each side of me, please. Okay, all right. So Leo, you may know from videos, which he's helped with sewing. Leo is our chief designer and the head of the restoration department. So we have a way of communicating, and it's been going on for many years, and it works. Michelle is new to the team, so if you call Wednesday through Friday, you'll probably get to talk to Michelle. And Michelle has been a collector since she was a little girl, and unfortunately she works here now, and I'm a tough boss. But what I think is great is she has learned a tremendous amount. Haven't you learned a lot?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So because the volume keeps coming, that Michelle has had to help with learning things, and some of the things she's learned are basic stringing, which we will do a separate video on that, because that is one of the most basic problems we have, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to show you a before and after. So we're all going to step out, and we're going to let our cameraman go in and look at this really motley crew of wonderful dolls that just need to be brought back to their potential. And once Eric gives you an overview, and it's sad, then we will go in one by one and talk about what we're going to do. All right, so that's what you're going to get, and we're going to go back into the position, and I'm going to just start. So I think what I'll start with is the oldest. So what we have here is what we would call a wax over papier-mâché. In England, they call them Mad Alice's. Now, actually, I think she's got a really great face, very little cracking. Usually you see a lot of that. So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. My part is, it looks like we have a little veil here. So the first, and it's got a slit head. So they would put the hair in the slit, and then it would create a part, and it was a very easy thing to do. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add hair to her and give her a decent set. I may not add hair. I may just sit and work and fill in the places. Now she has her original slip, and we will keep that. And there's actually, if you look under here, there's a commercial slip. So this is a form of tarlatan. or gauze, if you like. These two pieces here, and this is very stiff. So what we will not launder this because this will disintegrate. But what we will do is we will press this, steam this, and then put tissue under it, and that will reactivate the shape. It will naturally go back to the original shape. This could actually be the skirt, but we have a problem because we don't have a top. So I think we will recreate a top, and then we will keep this fuchsia little wrap. Because sometimes these 1830s, 40s, 30s, 40s dolls kind of look like a bizarre group of colors. And we're not going to change that. Now what Leo will do is, I think we could remove the lace and we can clean it and reattach it. And then we've got some serious moth damage here. But I think we have some pieces of this, I know we do, that we will go in and we will create going underneath, we will create a patch, and it'll show beautifully. Now the thing is, you want it to show beautifully. We've got some fading from the front to the back, but we're not gonna change that. And we've got a little bit of let's go back and have the cameraman. We've got some looseness in the waist. And if we don't go in and restuff this and we'll put a dowel in there, which we'll put a dowel that will go up into the torso, and that will keep her going for 100 years. We don't have our shoe department here today, but we will probably have, out of some very old leather, make some very simple slippers for her. And I'm sure that we probably have antique stockings. Now, do you two have anything else to add that you think we should do?
These look like beautiful antique beads.
Yes. Well, we're going to keep those. Yeah. I think we might reposition them because it's a little bit much. I think we could loosen it a bit, don't you think? I mean, or it's very childlike. So we'll keep those. Somehow we'll keep those. But I will point out that these, even though these look funky, these are her original hands. So this was as cheap of a doll as you could get at the time. And the term for these they were called bagman's babies. So we'll put that one aside. And then we're going to go to another one that I am wild about because I can see it done. So it's almost the same concept as that doll, except it's a little bit later. So now we're into the 1860s. And you know, you hear all the time, original clothes, original clothes. I think it's a very small percentage of old dolls that have original clothes. And I want to say something. There's a difference between the doll having original clothes and someone putting old clothes on a doll. It's not the same. So if you redress a doll in old clothes, it's not original. And I have seen some things, particularly in competition, where I've seen a skirt from the 1890s, a top from the 1870s, and a hat from 1910. They're all old, but it's not original. In this case, this is an original dress. Now, we've got outstanding hair. How I will first clean the hair. I will use a very soft, brand new paintbrush, and I will very gently knock the dust off. I will probably put some kind of spray on it, which will help keep dust off of it, just hairspray. I'm not going to tell you how to clean wax because I'm not telling you anything that I think you can damage a doll. But she will go to David and he will clean her face. Then Leo, because we've got these problems, the skirt's falling apart. We've got a lot of moth holes, but it's mostly there. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take the dress apart, lay it out, and then we're going to line it with red fabric.
That's probably,
And then this is a miracle because the trim is here, it's just undone. So we will reattach all the trim back onto the dress. And here's a good one of a Bagman's baby. This one has a much higher quality body, but this is typical of how they were. We have antique panties, so we'll give her a little pantaloon set and a nice, of the period underwear. But we don't really have, don't you think it's an easy job?
it's so easy, yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy.
And then what we want to do is we want to have this doll as like a balloon that's been popped. And when we show her to you again, she's going to look like a fully inflated balloon. And as we're working with it, we'll clean the fabric. And this is nice challis wool. And you can't find wool like this today. And then we will also have our shoe department, because these are we could possibly have antique shoes, but most likely not. But we'll probably use some antique leather and make some shoes for her. But I want to show you, this is kind of fun. So you see this leather? And look how little kid made like diapers for her, even though she's a young lady. But this is what I want you to see. So it has the leather eyes, so the eyes open and close. And I know that this looks like a wreck, but for a doll of this, for her type and her age, she's pretty remarkable, wouldn't you say? I know you have a fondness for these.
I love wax dolls. And the gown really retained its color well.
Yes, and this could have really been faded. Now I should remind you that, or inform you, there's no active infestation here. But if you thought there might, you take the dress, remove the dress, put it in a Ziploc bag, and put it in your freezer. And that'll take care of anything. So we're going to move on to, why don't we do something easy? That's where I found a hand today, and I thought, what does this hand go to? Now I know. So, attic find, you hear that all the time. This is an attic find. This is from an attic in Paris, and we were lucky to get her. This is an SFBJ 236, and early collectors called these laughing Jumeaus. And I think that if the Jumeau company owned 80% of SFBJ, so I guess they could be Jumeaus. But this is totally original. So here's what we're going to do with this one. So it's got this beautiful gauze dress, and it's from the 1920s. The dress is good.
Yeah.
What we have to do is a big cleanup, because it did have a China silk lining, which is disintegrated. You can see it there. It just disintegrated away. So we have in our boutique this exact color of silk, but I will say it was better quality than this. And we will reline the dress. Very easy. It's a rectangle, it's a very easy job without doing much damage to it. Now, cleaning, I don't necessarily like to over clean, and I love the color of this. So I think we're going to leave this. But what we might do to this costume, do you want to tell them how we get the smellies out of them? It's our secret, but not yet. You're on camera, so how do we do it?
We have really high strength rubbing alcohol that we lightly spritz throughout the garment. And then we let it dry for about 24 hours, and it evaporates, taking all the smells with it.
Yeah, and we learned that from in town. There's a very been around a long time, a vintage store, and usually those have a smell to them. And I asked her, how come nothing smells? And she said it's because she told me her secret. So we'll do that. And I think the shoes are excellent. The underwear is really beautiful. We might give the underwear a clean just because we could, but this we won't, because we want to keep this beautiful color. And we're going to show you how to restring a doll, and this one clearly needs it. Now the wig, which was originally red, you can see that it's faded to blonde, and I think I will just use some hair color from and I will re-dye this wig red. But here is the real treasure of this doll and why it's so important. See, it's got a labeled costume, Au Nain Bleu. So this was a dress doll that was an expensive piece at really one of the best toy stores. So it really deserves our time. And then Michelle will clean her face. We will use maybe a little soft scrub, maybe a little Windex. And we usually use, what are they? Q-tips. And I sometimes use a very well-worn toothbrushes for that. So she's an easy one, but it's a lot of steps. The dress has to be relined, cleaned, restrung, and then the hair. Now I might first, before I color it, I might clean it, and I have a special technique, which is I take the wig and I put it in a glass jar with a glass wig with lacquer thinner. I might leave it in there for a couple of days. Anything that is extra will come out in the lacquer thinner. It won't be any worse, and it won't be any better, and it won't shrink the cap. Now, I am taking a risk if I dye the hair to shrink the cap, but I think I could do it enough by pulling the hairs away. I'm a beauty school dropout, that's why I can do that. Because I want to keep the original wig, because we're now all original, and it's been with her all this time. Now I will tell you that why I've done a program for people, and one of the reasons I want to share what I know is, one time I had a lady take advice from someone else instead of us to clean a wig, and she used peanut butter. And I asked her, how did it turn out? And she said it was a disaster. so you got to follow instructions. But we're going to show you the before and after, and we're going to show them how to string. So we're going to move on to somebody else. Now this is something that you could find. This is, to me, it's like the definition of all original. But what this needs is, it needs somebody to sit. First of all, we've got to repair the handle, and we will pass that off on David because that requires drill bits and whatnot. But the handle's all there. So once we clean the doll, we're going to do a thing, and the doll is tied in there, but we'll clean him in place. We're going to do a thing that's called finger pressing. A lot of people don't understand what finger pressing is. So finger pressing is you're using your fingers. So we're going to use our misting bottles, which we sell in our boutique, and I can't live without them. And we're going to mist this with water. And then, Michelle will probably do this. This is the doll's, did you see that this is her cape? Do you see how you think it's just a piece of fabric, but that is her hooded cape. So we're going to mist it, and then we're going to use our fingers, and we're going to gently pull everything, just, pull the lace out, get everything kind of spruced up. And if we have to back things with tissue to fluff it up, make sure it's moist and wet, let the tissue stay until it's dry. And if you've got time, you let it stay a few days. Because this is virtually, look at that, that's unplayed with. No one has ever taken anything out of it. And this is the reed that is really very fragile. It's very pretty and I love it, but you know, you can't take this around to doll shows and things. This has to go in a cabinet once it's done. And this would really be in an exhibit of Etran or babies, a wonderful piece. So Leo, you're off the hook. There's almost nothing for you to do.
Nothing for me.
Yeah.
Do you have any
It's
suggestions?
all for you, Michelle. Well, for you and for David.
Do you have any suggestions on getting dust out of wicker?
Oh, so what you do is you take, you know, we have a fabulous, we are lucky, we've got a, what do you call it, hardware store right on the corner here. And so what you do is you tootle into that hardware store and you buy brand new paintbrushes. And paintbrushes come stiff, soft, there's a whole bunch of, and they're not expensive. And you just sit and you just paint it. And those, it'll get into all the little crevices. Then you could actually use a damp paintbrush after you've gotten the first go around and then really get in and clean it. So you could absolutely clean it. Now, if it didn't have all of this stuff on it, we could actually take the whole thing and dunk it into water, which is beneficial to it. So getting the reed wet is not a problem. So we could get this cleaned. Not that this is not that dirty. This has just been in this state of somebody needs to give it half a day's worth of attention, and it's a wonderful piece. Okay, so who's next? All right, this one's got more. I find that these type of dolls are almost impossible to find with what I would call original clothes. This came from an original family. They had no reason to redress it. It wasn't played with by another generation. Now, there's a difference between restoration and conservation. Restoration means you're putting something onto something that wasn't there originally, like cheek color or something like that. So basically what we're going to do with this piece is we're going to just do some conservation with a tiny bit of restoration. So the dress is in beautiful condition. I don't think it really, once we kind of shake it off, I don't think it really even needs to have any cleaning or anything like that. It still has its original trim here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the repairs of the dress, and we'll do some repairs of the undies, and this will be an easy thing to put a patch in it. We've got beautiful all matching undergarments, or mostly matching. Of course, like dolls, this is from Original Family. You know what? They lost shoes and socks just like we do. So we will probably have in our stash some shoes that would fit this. So what Leo's going to do is, when you see this here, this trim, this was probably black. And this is actually binding tape for a dress, a decorative binding tape. And we have a nice supply of old stuff. And what we will do is, this is not the, I'm sure, I'm not, I mean, I wouldn't swear my life on it, but I think that this was originally black and it's just turned this brown color. So we're going to replace that with some of that type of tape. And I think that that's, and then Michelle will clean her face. And then because we want her to be beautiful again, we'll find her a pair of earrings. But look at the buttons. She's got great buttons. But see, this to me in a museum situation, or in I think in a very well curated collection, you can just see it's missing stuff. So this is an easy fix, and it's a beautiful design. And then I do believe that the lace is now at this point too far gone, but we can match that pretty good, I think. So this, I think, is an easy job. we have a little, we're busting out here, and we'll probably take some of this cotton out and restitch that. And then I think I could clean these hands a little bit. That is something I'm not going to share with you because, again, I think if you don't really know, you could ruin a doll. But I think she's pretty good to go. And look at that bow in the hair. I think that's beautiful. And the great curls. Did you see those, Michelle? Look at those.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, that's very well detailed. Okay, let's see who's next. Okie dokie. Now this one is kind of easy. So this is probably a number 5 or number 6 Barbie, and this actually came from Gay Gardens. So this is a real certified attic doll. And the Barbies were in terrible condition because they got rained on, and you know, of that group, this is the only one I kept. And we're going to clean her up. Her hair's perfect. She doesn't have her rubber band at the bottom of the ponytail, but I'm perfectly okay with that. Face is good. I'm not going to bother cleaning the panties because I think that they're too far gone, but I will clean it with a little bit of alcohol with a Q-tip, and then I have to make the decision, do I want to do anything about her? She's slightly bow-legged. I may leave it, I may not. But if I wanted to change this, what I would do is boil some water, put her in it, and then when it's soft, straighten them out, and they will be fine. So we don't worry about clothes for this because, you know, she has a million dresses that she could wear. So we don't have to worry about that. But Barbies, I would never attempt this if there were facial paint missing, but she's got great, that's for another kind of conservator, not us. But since the paint is good, this is just a cleaning job. And I may give this to you, Michelle, to do, because I know it's not really your heart's delight, but you know, you're young. You're going to be around working on Barbies into the future, and I'll be gone. Okay, so here's something that is a question. What do we do? Because it doesn't look like anything. However, this is really, really important. We are the second people that have ever owned this little boy doll. And this boy doll was owned by a boy. And we bought it from his daughter, or actually she gave it to us. And how she described her father is, to people of a certain age, he was just like Archie Bunker, which was very odd that he would have a black doll. But this was a doll that was owned by a little boy. There's something else that's very important about this doll. He is wearing a baseball uniform. So we're at the earliest, really early stages of baseball, and it's even more important. This is a uniform for the Negro League. The daughter couldn't understand why her father had a black doll from the Negro League, which this is a very, very rare artifact, and you can see there's a K here, and this was for Kansas City. So this is one of the things that all we're going to do to this piece is we're going to take the clothes off, do whatever stitching we need to do, give it a very light pressing where if we put some mist on it, we'll make sure we cover that, because I think that's just ink, don't you? It's just ink or paint. The K.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we'll make sure we cover that. But it needs to have a nice little pressing, and you know, I don't think there's anything we could, I mean, this is important for people to, yes, I guess if this were a little girl and it wasn't important, we could have the head restored, but this gentleman had this doll his whole life. He was never without it. Even in his military service, he took him with him. So it's a very important piece, and when David and I are done with our journey in Kansas City, there is the Negro League museum, so we will pass this off to them. This is probably the only doll of this type that is known to exist, which is really a remarkable thing. So you don't get to do too much with him, Michelle.
Okay.
Now this one, you know, sometimes you have to take time with your own dolls. So I think she's just, in a way, she's just kind of a mess. She needs to be restrung. She's limp. However, I noticed today there's all kinds of documentation. So this doll came from Russia. Although it's a German doll, it's most likely a Baron Rothschild. At first I thought, oh, she's a little gypsy type, and no, this is a Russian costume. So she has everything. She's got her shoes, she's got her dress, she's got all of her provenance here, amazing colored prints. I think the only thing that we need to do for her is do her hair up a little bit, restring her, take everything out, and then Leo will have to, you can see we've got some things falling off. We'll do a little repair, and then we will go into our antique velvets, and we need to make her a headdress. Okay. Because what the Russian, like a Russian tea server would have, because it's all there, but you know, a woman's hair is her crowning glory. There should be something on the head, and I feel it's, don't you think it's out of balance without something? When you see this, this, there's nothing on the head. And we'll restring the beads, and when we do that, because and then we can take a couple of beads off and make her earrings. So this is an easy fix, and I think this should probably be ultimately stitched together. I don't think that was meant to be. I think that was meant like that, don't you? And we'll do research to it should be closed up. But everything is good. We're not going to clean it. We're just going to press it, repair it, and then recreate. So with this one, we're going to do conservation, which will be from here down, and from here up, restoration. We're going to be putting something that we feel was there originally. And this is the beauty of what we do. It just falls apart. Okay, Leo, are you ready for a challenge?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So you know, you hear all original doll. So, oops. Look, this came in a tatty suitcase, and she was all messed up, but this is a Kessner XI. Yes, it is a Kessner XI. Amazing face. I think it's a beautiful face. Has all the original parts, except this I don't think is original. Well, maybe it is. Okay. Well, it's not plaster. Normally they are plaster, but it fits perfectly. Again, there is no reason for this family to not have, they weren't collectors, nothing was collectorized. But what we have happening here is because of the way she was stored, it broke her ankle. So we're going to have to go in and repair that ankle, and which is an easy fix. As much as I love the dolls have to show nicely, and we're now down to threads on this dress, literally threads. So what I want Leo to do is to take it apart with the parts that we have, make a new costume using all of the components that we have. The lining is perfect. The lace is perfect. Because look at how great the wig is with a little bit of work. The dress doesn't work because what we have happening is the silk, which is a satin back silk, it's just disintegrating. And it was probably in a hot attic, then cold, hot, cold. But we've got all these great buttons, and it's a great design. So I think we could bring this back. So this is, from here up, it's conservation. From here down, it's restoration. But we've got nice underwear, well, although she doesn't have panties. This is a normal phenomenon, even with dolls from homes. We need to give her some panties, and she's got nice shoes. Maybe we'll do some pom-poms out of the silk fibers, you know. But I think this is going to be a beautiful doll. The wig, I will do the technique of putting this into the lacquer thinner because it's a beautiful Kessner wig, and it almost has all of the original set. So the lacquer thinner won't hurt this in any way. And then we'll go in with very fine, a fine brush and kind of brush this in and then put a few curls back in. And I think what we'll do with this, Michelle, is when we go to do the curls, we'll do pin curls. Okay. You know how to do pin curls, right?
You'll have to teach me.
Okay. Well, pin curl is just basically making loops and then taking two bobby pins and putting it across. It's one of the oldest forms of hairdressing. I guess I haven't gotten to hairdressing with you yet, have I?
No.
Okay, well, you'll get that.
I'm dying to learn.
But you'll get it when they get it, too. So.
I can't wait to wash her face.
Yes, won't that be fun?
Yes.
Now this is, I'm going to try to see if I can keep this for the museum. I have to work that out with David because he'll take it out of my paycheck that I don't get. So here is what we have is a wax over papier-mâché. This was from the Patricia Gosch collection, and we handled her collection, which was a great honor. And this is one that we bought from the collection, and he's a little sailor. So it's all original. I think what we will do with this one is we're going to just simply try to surface clean it. Someone's already done patching, but they did a no-no. They glued it. So we're not going to try to take that out because at this point it's going to make it worse. But wherever we can repatch it, we will repatch it with some lightweight cotton from the inside and do little stitches. And then David will clean the wax, and we've got to remove some glue. But we also have to rearrange the hair because, and the big job on this one is going to be repairing the hat. And this is now so dry that we probably can't do anything to like sew it or, so we'll probably make a whole nother hat to put inside of it to then support it. And you can see it was trimmed with blue fabric, blue silk. And what's great is it'll be the same silk as that other. It's exactly the same color. So that's what and then he's going to go to David to have a clean. David won't over clean it. We won't lose any of the details. And as I said, that's one thing I'm not going to show you because I think if you don't know what you're doing, you could ruin a lot of dolls. But he's really not that bad. And I know that there's a lot of people that would be happy to have him like he is. But I think we could help him survive into the future with a little bit of TLC. So I think we're going to say that this one is a conservation job, not a restoration, because we're really not going to, other than the lining for the hat, we're not going to change much or add to. So that one can go. Boy, have I got a job for you, Michelle. So we've heard attic find. You hear that all the time, all original. This one is very thought-provoking because right away, I thought, oh, original factory clothes. And then I turned, and I could, as a dealer, pass this off as that. But then I noticed that we have this little tag, F&B, which is a great American company, which made beautifully dressed dolls. And then, I need sometimes to think about it. And then I realized, wait a minute, this is someone's doll from 1912. This was her doll. Then, when she had her child, most likely a girl, she gave her doll to her child, but she wanted to update it. So what did she do? She just went to the store and bought the latest, cutest F&B 1920 to 1930s dress. So this is a little dotted Swiss. I think that I don't like to overclean, but this type of aging is not appealing to me. This looks like it rained in the attic and it stained the doll. So Michelle is going to clean this, and she's going to very gently clean it with a very, mild detergent. Then, and let's see, what do we have there? Can you read that? My eyesight's not that good for that. Is it Yolanda? Y-A-L?
Yella? Yella?
Yella? Okay.
All right. This is the other way around.
This doll hasn't had this much attention in years. We'll try to decipher that. But I love this kind of stuff on dolls. So, okay, her body is not in bad condition. We've got this here that could be, we want to make sure that no moisture gets in there. She's got the shoes and socks. She's going to have to go to David we got some bad finger problems. These could have just fallen off when they got wet or chewed off, but a beautiful face, I think. And this will clean up beautifully with Windex and some soft scrub. And the wig is there. It just needs to be all cleaned up. And I think you're going to spend a couple hours trying to get her head clean because it's very, very dirty. But this is an attic fine doll. And okay, we could say that this dress is not original, but I think this dress is a part of this doll's history. And again, it's from a family. There's no reason for them to collectorize a doll. Do you see why we wore aprons today, kids? So this one I thought was fascinating because look at this fabric. Do you see what's happening here? It's a silk that has silver run through it, and it creates an iridescence. In the front, it's kind of worn. The fibers have worn away, but you could see in the folds, and it's a very unusual little wooden shoulder plate. Now I'm not, in this case, I think we're missing an undergarment, but we've got, again, this is from a family. We have the skirt sewn to it. So we need to put some kind of undergarment on it and maybe some kind of closures to this jacket. Red body, no fingers, and I think the feet are basically what we've seen regularly. But look at the underwear. It's all commercially made. It's not handmade. So that's very interesting. But the wood on this and the paint finish, I think, is really wonderful and outstanding. All we'll do is probably use our dry paintbrush and dust it off. I think we need to give her some kind of something under here and probably a sash. And then, of course, the never-ending problem of shoes. We'll probably make her a little pair of slippers, that ballerina-type slippers that lace up. And and she has this funky hat, and she'll be good to go. Or if I don't cover her hand. Or maybe, this does seem kind of off, doesn't it? What do you think, Michelle? It's almost like, because look at how it fits. It fits.
Mm-hmm. You can make a little short.
Yeah, well, we're going to short. You know what? We are going to make an executive decision, and we're going to shorten this hat because it needs to. I feel like it's been with it. Again, this is from a family. There's no reason for them to give us any other information. But I think this is in some kind. This is meant to be some kind of ethnic costume, which I'm not totally sure what it is. But we're going to go with it. Now here's an easy just little restoration, conservation, cleaning if you like. We have a little Nora Wellings. It's actually in beautiful condition. So what I will do with this, or Michelle will do with this, is we will take masking tape and we'll wrap it around our finger, and we're going to just go in and pat and pat and pat and get some of that dirt or dust out without ever touching any of the painted features. That's all it really needs. The hair is, I think, in beautiful condition. We might put some straight pins in this to have these stick out, because I think that they were meant to stick out horizontally. And then the other thing that is a little bit of a mess is we'll cover her with tissue paper, her legs, her torso, and then we're going to lightly mist this, and we're going to make the hula skirt, lay down properly. And that's it. So, but I think when we do this for this piece, this will make a whole lot of difference to it. And it's a really, really charming piece. And I think you can see where they're marked. She's got her mark on the bottom of her foot. And the velveteen is all in good shape. Maybe we'll pat the face with masking tape a little bit, and the body we'll just use the paintbrush cleaning, because I think that's all it needs. And we have another one, and we're going to do the same thing on this one. This is a piece that I have not seen before, and we've had a lot of these, but this just needs a little bit of, I think, the masking tape, and that may take off a little bit of this residue too. You just have to be very gentle to not make it ball up. But this one is a cute little piece. Now this one, Baby. This is like one of the, I think, of what we've looked at today, one of the easiest jobs. We basically are going to take all the clothes off. Michelle is going to restring it, because you can see that the head is just going to fall off at any minute. But this is, again, a family doll, all original piece, original wig. We probably need to do a little bit of sewing, and this is so minor that Michelle can do it without having Leo to work on it. Now the question is, this is a matter of taste. Some people like whites, all white. I don't mind all white, but I prefer this color. So depending on the condition of the item and whether I think it's appealing or not, because really at the end of the day, all of these things have to be appealing to you, me. If we don't like the way it looks, it doesn't work. So, but in this case, I think it's not bad, although we've got a couple of naughty stains there. But it's also a wrist cleaning. And look at all this fabulous work. Baby's had some of the greatest things ever. Then the other thing that I cannot hardly stand is someone lovingly, and they thought they were doing the right thing, put this acetate ribbon on this, because the ribbon is the first to go. So we will put real silk ribbon on this because this will drive me crazy. And I think we have a wig that has lost a lot of hair. But I think for what we're doing, we're going to leave this because there's enough to give the effect of, baby. We'll comb it around, but we'll use the cleaning method. You don't have to use the cleaning method if you can brush it and get it to look nice. But if you can't, then you need to clean it. But for a baby, I think that this is okay. Would you, as a collector, would that bother you, Michelle, when it's all on?
No, I think leaving it original wig, even if it's a little bit sparse.
And you know what we can do too is, and I've been known to do this, see these threads, which are very annoying because if they were brown, you wouldn't see them. Well, I've been known to take a magic marker and just sit for hours and go in and paint those. And that works because if you're looking at it and you're seeing these white things, that's not nice. But basically, baby needs a half a day of somebody giving it love, and it'll bring it back to a point that it's good for another 50 years.
Would you say, Michael, even if you left the patina, either way, would you want to get some moisture on it?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. We're gonna press it. We're going to mist it. Yes, because fabric is alive, real fabric, and it's fascinating when you mist it to see. You can almost see it moving. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, have you noticed that? Yeah, you can see it moving. That's like, thank you for giving me when it gets dried out. Yeah. And if you're in an attic and a basement and hot and cold, by the way, everybody's worried about hot. Cold is sometimes way worse than hot. I should have shown you this specimen earlier if we were going to do this chronologically, but we're not necessarily doing this chronologically. We're doing this as the need. So here we have a Neapolitan creche figure, and these would have been part of a Percepio, and I would imagine he was once upon a time in a group that could have been in the hundreds of figures. Original condition. You can find these in perfect condition, untouched. Most of the time, this is what original looks like. This is, 200 plus year old piece, dressed in cottons and silks. And we know what happens to silks over time, and cottons for that matter. And these type of pieces were part of exhibits. So there would have been, scenes and whatnot. So most collectors, if you're going to use this in your exhibit, they either all have to look like this, which is not necessarily appealing to the public. We've had Percepios in our windows, and they stop traffic. So everything needs to be cohesive. You can't have one that's more, everything needs to be. So in this case, our jacket, I think, is pretty good. And I think with some gentle cleaning with a brush, we can get off a lot of surface grime. We've got beautiful trim, beautiful buttons, lined with paper, which is what they usually were. But then this is a job for Leo. So we have the pants that are almost gone. But if you look in it, it's an embossed paisley motif. So we've got to find some silk in our stash of something as close to this as we can get, and we can emboss silk. We can do that. And how we could do it is right underneath here is find some lace like this, wet the silk, and we can emboss it. Of course, if you press it, you lose it all. So what we will do is we will take all of these trims and we will reuse them, take them apart, clean them, and reattach them. And I think this is now, I think the vest is too far gone. It's not matching, but again, I think we'll take all the trim off. And when we have done this type of work in the past, when you go to remove this, it all stays in place. It doesn't, you don't have to reposition it. It knows the way it should be. Here we have a little bit of wear, but I think we could snip some pieces from, say, under here, and we could fill those in, and that would be good. And then it'll go up to David, and he will do a clean, and this guy will be ready for the holiday season. But this is a wonderful piece. So what we're doing here is we're doing it's a combination of conservation, keeping what it is, and then restoration, which is replacing something that's no longer there. And I think with this particular piece, I should point this out. I know I'm going to get some criticism in the doll world from certain groups that will say this should never be touched, it should be left. Well, this is in a state of rot at this point. You will not go into, if you would like dolls to be considered fine art, you will not go into one museum and see a slashed painting or a painting that's ripped or the part of the face is off. Art is conserved and restored. So if we're going to consider that dolls are art, we have to go by that too. I'm not saying go out and redo everything. I'm saying, you know, if you have something like this that is not going to work in say a collection of liked things, you have to get it to that place.
Will any of the paint be touched up?
No. No, because I think that the paint is really remarkable, but I mean, this sounds terrible. I've been doing this long enough to know that the paint is good. It's like, when you see this here, do you think that's dirt? I'm just asking you.
Maybe a little dirty.
A little dirty, but it's a little dirty. But this here, feel it. It's a 5 o'clock shadow. So it's meant to go from the cheek to this, because remember, they're Neapolitan. Their hair color is going to be darker than, say, someone in Scandinavia. So this will, the 5 o'clock shadow will be there, but this will clean up beautifully. I guarantee you that. And what's a miracle, and David will not believe it, is that, you know, the head is terracotta, and the hands are wood, and the legs are wood. David is going to be shocked that the fingers are all good. Normally those are broken. Yeah, and you know, I mean, you could, if you wanted to, do a little touch up here, but I don't think we'll do that. But again, I'll let David decide, because when he cleans it, this is going to come out much brighter blue, and then he'll decide that if this is really distracting, then we could do something. But we're going to do something that if in 35 years it changes color, that they'll be able to remove it without hurting anything. So this is going to be a big job for Mr. Leo, and this will probably take a couple of days to do. And by the way, it'll take him longer to find the fabric than it will to make the pants. Am I wrong? Yeah. So he'll have to go through a lot of things. Okay.
He's very handsome.
Yes, and that's going to be fun to see come back. This is Becky. Big Becky. Yeah, this is Becky.
Okay, Becky.
Okay, so Becky, first of all, Poor Michelle, tested by fire, with given very little instruction on how to string. But see, I believe that you learn more by doing. So if I do it and I'm showing her every problem of stringing, which we will show when we do our stringing segment, each case is its own problem. You've learned that now, haven't you? You can't think that they're all the same, because I notice with her, her head is very tight. Her legs, I mean, you know, they're just loose. So that leads me to believe that there's a bar across her torso, and you can see where they would cut the body to. And she's strung to the torso, and the legs are strung. So this is going to be a problem. The body is a typical 1950s overpaint. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to leave that as it is. We'll wipe it down. I don't know why this is here, but we'll get that off, because on a hot day, that's just going to melt and ruin the dress, but we'll do that later. So I feel, even though I like patina, the dress, and I think the dress is adorable. I do. I don't like this. And what we have is a companion doll. When you see these big giant dolls, these were known as companion dolls. So if you had a girl that was an only child or all boys, this would be her friend doll. And they mostly always had hand-me-downs. So I would imagine this dress is a hand-me-down. I think it's adorable, but the other doll, I liked its patina. This is to the other side of shabby. Do you agree?
It needs a soak.
It needs a soak, and then I want to, Leo will make this into, we'll probably reverse this so that we have a cuff, because you can't get it over the hands. Or maybe you can, I don't know.
It's short, yeah.
Yeah, and we've got to fix that so it looks nicer.
We can work on that one.
So Michelle is going to wrestle her to string her. Then we'll soft scrub her face, which is, you know, it's a beautiful face. She doesn't have a super duper old wig. So this one, we don't have to, if we clean it, we don't have to worry about the cap shrinking. So we could just clean this, you know, with shampoo, because it's human hair. We'll set it, and we'll give her an Alice band. And I've got lots and lots of antique children's shoes, and she's the size. And we'll get rid of these 1980s ones, and we'll give her a nice pair of shoes. And then she can go to our house and live in our playhouse. Because she's the perfect size. Because let's look at her when she's all standing up. This is a big, beautiful doll. But she looks like she's went down the rabbit hole, doesn't she? So we are going to get busy, and we are going to get this done, and we are going to come back and show you the finished results. So are you up for the challenge?
Get ready.
Yes. You ready?
Absolutely. Can't
Okay.
wait.
All right. Bye-bye, doll friends. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button.